That's a pretty cool mic, though. It looks really cool.
It looks cool, huh? At least that's, Okay, so it's a dead guy's mic. The guy died.
Oh my god.
So that's right. That's a cool story already, right? Yeah.
It's got some.
We'll see what happens if anything comes through on the audio.
That's interesting. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, that's a twist.
Yeah, that's a little. So, close to the mic, Legacy is always good. And make sure you could, hear yourself and you're comfortable and everything.
Yeah,
and that's good to go. And so cool. We got these new little stands and stuff. And
yeah, they look pretty cool.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
This whole setup is really cool, man. Like I said, I'm excited.
So it's a collaboration between all of us. So we kind of come together like Voltron.
Yeah, everybody just showed up and I'm like, that's why I was like, what do I do? Everybody's getting
what do I do with my hands? I don't know what to do with my hands. So you're rolling? Rigo's rolling. All right.
Welcome to Are We Where Yet with Johnny Awesome and Tori Black.
All right, everybody. Welcome to season 2, episode number 1 of the Are We Where Yet podcast. Took a little break. It's hot in Yuma, so it's good to take a little break. And anyway, we're back. First of all, I want to recognize our sponsors, our partners, not sponsors, our partnership with North End Coffee House. Go over there, mention us, get 10% off any drink, and or a free cookie. And you got Studio Y, also one of our partners, and I think it was 20%, right?
I can't remember. I even forgot about the cookie thing.
Yeah,
too, with North
you
End.
That sounds good. You got me on.
Sorry,
that.
I went back, but the cookie thing.
There's a cookie thing.
Deal.
Yeah,
there's definitely a cookie thing. So anyway, so North End Coffee House and Studio Y. Go over there, and it's like 20% off. I think the membership. I got to remember those things. We got some new sponsors coming on for season 2.
Partners.
Partners. There we go. Partners coming on for season 2. So I just want to put that out there. I'm not going to announce them yet. So we're kind of working out all the details and stuff. But one of the people that I think is going to be a sponsor is Fretworks.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
I like that.
Yeah, that's where I got this new mic at right here. So this mic, everybody was wondering about the mic, and I kind of hinted it was a dead guy's mic. So this guy, I guess he's been like hoarding equipment in his house. Not a house, it was even an apartment, I think at Beach Club Apartments. And he just hoarded all this equipment. And when he died, his family just went into the house, and there was just all this equipment in the house. And so they left it to Fretworks. They just left all the guitars and mics.
And they told you the story behind the mic?
Yeah, behind the mic. That's good. So this was like, it's like a $400 mic. It was $100.
Damn.
Yeah. It was $100.
So you got a haunted mic.
So it's a haunted mic. So hopefully something happens during this podcast and we all get possessed.
I think even if you wanted to sell it, you can mark it up because it's haunted.
Right?
It's a markup right there.
Yeah, so there we go.
Haunted markup.
So anyway, thanks to Fretworks for hooking up with a good deal on this mic. And anyway, so the guy talking on the other side of the mic over here is Legacy Patino. Did I say it right?
Yeah.
Patino?
Yeah.
So Legacy, that's an interesting name.
Mm-hmm.
And first shout out to Alan Reyes for hooking this whole thing up.
Yep. Big dog over there sitting on the right.
Yeah, so he's here. He's just off camera, and we won't give him a mic because he gets wild. He gets too intense. But anyway, he had hit me up on Facebook. He's like, "I got the perfect guy for your podcast, and what do we got to do to make it happen?" So we set up a lunch, and I started going through his list of friends, and he's talking about some guy that did some crazy thing at a Grant Cardone event, and I'm thinking, I think I know who this guy is, and the thing or the name I knew you as was Chepe.
Yeah.
Chepe.
Yeah.
So that's like a family name, right?
Yeah. That's the whole family. And even Legacy is not. It wasn't my real name.
Yeah.
My real name was Jose.
Okay.
I hated it.
You couldn't stand Jose.
I couldn't. I would go to class. They would call roll first day. Jose. 4 people raise their hand. It's like, oh.
There's too many Jose's out there.
They're everywhere. It was horrible.
I feel the same way when you shorten my name from Jonathan to John. It's worse because, like, I got to go use the John, right? And then my last name is Porter. So Porter Potty.
Oh, my God.
John and Porter is just like growing up was like, grade school was tough. Anyway, but so did you legally change your name?
Yeah, so I legally changed my name. I was like, you know what? I really like this name. I want people to know me by this. Just make the full commitment. That's my name. You know, so owned it, changed it legally, all that stuff.
Because that's what he was mentioning. So I was like, yeah, I think is it this guy? Is it Chepe? He's like, yeah. Well, his name's Legacy. And I was like, well, yeah, I know that's what he goes by. He's like, no. That's his name. He legally changed his name to Legacy. So that's a lot to live up to.
Yeah, it is, and that's on purpose. You know, that's in high school, a lot of people would, dude, why Legacy, dude? You know, you got to do some real stuff to be a legacy. I'm like, well, that's the point. You know, that's people have this expectation. You say the name, and it's like, okay, well, what is this guy doing? You know, you already know what that means. You already know what that word is, and you know, that's all on purpose. I love the meaning of that word, and I feel like everybody can relate. You know, to a legacy. You want to leave a legacy behind. You want your family to know about you. You know, your kids, and just everybody in general to have this positive look at you or what you've done or what you're doing. You know, what your intentions are. On one of your previous podcasts, you mentioned something about the why. You know, a lot of people follow the why. Why are you doing it? And that's strong, dude. That's spot on. You know, because a lot of times, I mean, it doesn't matter. You got a lemonade stand. I remember I was driving down Pacific, and I seen a little lemonade stand, you know, and 3 little kids out there.
That really happens?
I know. I was like, I did a U-turn, came back, and I'm like, hey, guys, like, what's up? What are you guys doing? And they're like, oh, well, we want to go to the fair. You know, we don't want to ask my mom for money, so we did a lemonade stand. I was like, what? Like, you guys really just did this? Like, that here, I want to buy like 5 lemonades right now.
That is pretty cool.
You know, so that was pretty awesome, the whole lemonade stand thing. But yeah, the legacy, what you're doing, the why. And I feel like you guys are pretty in sync with the whole law of attraction. And we were even mentioning other things, you know, apart from that, because that goes behind your why too. You know, what your intentions are, what you really genuinely want to do. People will see right through you if you're being fake about something.
Exactly. And so on that tip, so when he had mentioned it was you, I got to be honest, and I was honest with him too. I was kind of like, well, I remember when you sent me music, because your mom and my wife know each other, and that's kind of how we met at an event they had for their school. They're both teachers, and I remember you're telling me all this great positive stuff, but then you sent me your music, and I was kind of like, I didn't hear that in the music, and to me, music is something it's a spiritual thing. It's something that's more that where you kind of put your heart in. And I was like, it sounds like everybody else though. And the stuff you're saying was like, yeah, I've heard it before. And that doesn't reflect the kid that I met that day in the auditorium that stood for these certain things. So I was kind of like, I don't know if I want him on their podcast, you know. But during the lunch, we got to discuss some of that. So if you want to kind of touch on that briefly about, because you do music,
Yeah.
right? That's music, and that's why you started your company. And we'll get to your company, Autopilot later, right?
Yeah.
So, okay. So let's talk about a little bit about that. So you're a rapper?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I rap. I have, so previously, before I sent you the music, I had, you know, storytelling music. And it's not appealing. You know, people are like, nah, we want to listen to this jump stuff and just to the masses. So I started, you know, sinking into this, you know, illusion, how we were talking. And it's like, no, you got to talk about money. You got to talk about this. And I was in a studio in Hollywood. So I was like, oh, no, these guys know what they're talking about. You know, I got to listen to these guys. You know, I'm going to just follow what they're saying. They're going to lead me in the right direction. And listening to the music, going back to it, and it was crazy when he was talking to me about that, because a little bit ago I was switching it up. I was like, you know what? It's not me. You know, it's not me. Like music, like you said, it's communication. It's form of communication.
Exactly.
You know, so if I'm, and I mentioned it right now about being fake, people will see right through it. So if I have these positive videos and you meet me and I'm doing this, and then my music's saying something else, it's like, whoa, you know, and I caught that. I exited out. I was like, I felt horrible because I was like, man, I'm going to lose all of this. But really, I was just kind of finding myself.
So, yeah, and that, in essence, like, what are you really losing at that point?
Yeah.
You're losing a facade. You're losing this thing that these people in Hollywood told you, like, this is the way to go. And after you sent me that, I was kind of like, man, I can't get down with this kid. Like, I got to be honest. Like I said, I was like, no, like, because what he's saying is not what he's saying here. And I'm getting a mixed message. And then we kind of fell out of contact for a little while. And after that, and then it wasn't until, like I said, when Alan hooked up the little meeting and you said exactly what you just said here. Like, no, I recognized that wasn't me, that I was listening to these outside sources and telling me what's going to sell, what's going to make money, how I got to do it. And you said, enough. So you don't talk about that stuff anymore in your music? I haven't heard anything.
Yeah, no, I haven't. I've been zoning in onto the whole beginning of it, what's going to fund it, what the main idea was. And once that's circulating, go back into my music to where I can really dedicate the time I need without hurting my finances or anything, have that set up. And then it goes to the why, going a little bit back as far as realizing it was like, why am I doing this? Like, I'm listening to these guys because they're saying I can make money and get big, but that's not why I want to make music. Like, I want people to listen to this and feel better. I want somebody to have a horrible situation going on and listen to this and it's like, man, this guy was able to get through this, or this is how to do it. You know, because it's all within yourself. It's personal. You know, a lot of it, you know, business and life. It's your responsibility. You know, you got to own it. It's all you, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And once you start taking that responsibility, being aware of it, and like I said, I listen to it and I'm like, man, you know, is this really what I want to sound like? This is, you know, and they even said it, like, sound like this for a little while and then you just go back to your stuff once you have a following.
So, and did you think, you know, I don't think people even do that though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like they get caught up in the machine and they're just kind of always putting on this facade and they're continuing in that. And it's hard to say like, okay, well, now I want to be me. And so then, you know, people do crazy things and, you know, Britney Spears shaves her head or whatever because the true artist isn't coming out, you know. And what it just happened with Katy Perry, she just had a meltdown and she did the same thing. She went and got the clippers and like, this is what Britney did, so I'm going to do it too, you know, because she wasn't being true to herself. Mm-hmm. She was being what they wanted her to be. And so that showed some maturity. And then I said, okay. Mm-hmm. I feel comfortable now having this guy on this platform. You know, everybody in this room, Tori, Rigo, we all started off in music one way or another. Rigo doing videos and pictures and stuff for local artists. Tori has some of the most amazing music I've ever heard. I can't wait till we do a song together one year. It's going to happen, you know. But so that's a big deal to us. So when you said that, like, no, I'm not going to do that anymore. It's like, okay, I feel comfortable. So let's talk a little bit about Autopilot, because Autopilot is what you created, and what you told me back then when you first telling me I'm going to do this business was I want to put my life on autopilot, kind of, so I can do my music.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about Autopilot, what Autopilot is, and what's the mission behind Autopilot.
Well, before I even get to the story, because this relates back to the music thing, I had the same thing happen to me. Like, whoa, what am I doing? And this put me in a horrible situation with my family because they were expecting this certain thing. I was going to school to be a dentist. You know, I was going to be a dentist. I was going to school. I moved to Phoenix. I was doing the whole thing. And I hit the brakes. Like, whoa, what am I doing? Uh-huh. Like, why am I going to school right now when that's not what I want to do?
Did you like people's teeth?
No, I just did it because it was like
teeth weren't a thing for you.
It was I don't know, it just seemed right. It was like, oh, everybody's okay with it. I'm saying I'm going to college and everybody's like, oh yeah, that's awesome, man. You're gonna be a dentist, that's cool. And I was like, man, like, but is that what I want to do? You know, I'm getting all of this permission from all of these people that are not me. And I stopped and I was made aware, like, the why again. Like, why? I'm doing it because I want to make money and I want to make people satisfied. Like, this is what I'm supposed to do. And I stopped. And I went back, like, I want to have a business. I want to be able to create something. I want to do my music. You know, music is a business. You have to treat it professionally. It's not just a game. Like, a lot of people, you say you want to be an artist and they laugh. And they have some kind of right in a sense, because there's a lot of people out there that just don't take it serious. You know, it's just like this thing that I'm going to do and I'm going to pop off one of these days. And it doesn't work that way. You know, you guys know more than anybody. There's so much work behind it. People don't understand all the time. You know, writing the lyrics, getting the right notes, having the right syllables. There's a lot of work. So creating the business was kind of just like, you know what, I have to make this thing that's gonna give me the ability to live out my dreams. Give me the why. Because I'll be able to give back. How can I give out when I don't have?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to learn to have some kind of, not selfishness because your intentions are to help, but like zone in on you. Grow yourself so you can help. And that's how I want to put it on Autopilot. Diving a little bit into Autopilot, it's delivery systems. So I'm gonna have a public delivery system for food. Buffalo, Firehouse, all that stuff, and it's gonna be like $13.99 a month, unlimited free food deliveries. So you can get whatever you want delivered for free.
So it's a service that you subscribe to through an app.
Yeah, through an app, and
Okay.
then we're gonna have the launch. So I've had it open since last Valentine's Day, but we shut down the food portion of it, and we're revamping everything, and we're doing a big grand opening in November.
Okay, because you had some issues, right?
Yeah.
We talked a little bit about some issues that.
Yeah.
And you were pretty calm when we had lunch, but you were in the thick of the issues when we met up, right?
Yeah.
You were telling me like, oh, this thing happened, blah blah blah, and you were like, actually, it just happened a few days ago. And you lost control of your website and some things, and
Yeah, and a lot happened in such a little time frame. So much.
can you get into any of that?
Yeah. I'll start going into this. The funny thing is, I went to a chapel at the hospital. Because there's a little chapel. And I like it because there's a piano. I like playing piano, and it's quiet. There's nobody there. So I was sitting there playing piano, and I went and I asked, God, I'm like, you know what? Give me a challenge. Like I don't want you
You're a
to
brave
give me
man.
something. I was like, give me a challenge. And it was crazy. He the next day, the whole money situation that we had talked about. So I had an investor give me access to $500,000, and
And this is another one of the stories
And this is
that
another-
kind of like intrigued me, because the way we started that conversation off, I don't mean to cut you off, but was like, hey, watch out, because people are going to come and they're going to try to use you or jump on the back of what you're doing, the success that you're having. And then you said, actually, and then go ahead.
yeah. So receiving this money, was like a dream come true.
$500,000.
$500,000. You're and I've been talking about this for a long time. Like, man, I need this money. I need to get, I need to have this. And having it was surreal. It was like, what? Like, my prayers were answered. The challenge is, how am I going to spend it? But no, the challenge was not to spend it. That was the real challenge. And I held on to it. I had the access, but I held on to it. And I started making decisions based on that cushion, but with my own money. And this guy saw, things being.
So this guy comes up, hands you some money, kind of. Was there strings attached in the front? Was he like, here's $500,000?
No, it was there was just it was just more.
Hey kid, I like you. Kind of like, hey kid, hey, here you go. Here's $500,000. Here you go. And there's no strings in front. And what you're saying is, you put the money away, but you spent like you had it.
Yeah.
Your own money. Kind of
exactly.
like using the law of attraction in a way, like you have this and it gave you this confidence.
Mm-hmm.
So then you start making moves.
Yes.
Okay.
So I start spending like if I had it. Like, what? I'm going to start cutting into this because I really need this. I'm going to start making this happen. I'm going to start moving in this direction. And in that, little span, another hit, and it was another hit in the favor of the money, because I was hit. I lost the website. There were subscribers, income coming in, things that were lost in masses.
Because you had a business partner or something?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
it was we partnered up businesses. So they had a separate business, and I subcontracted one person to handle all of the delivery. But it's just like, if you're relying on someone like a kickstand and they ever decide to just kick off, you're gonna fall. So you have to stay grounded enough to, even if they kick off, you're gonna keep going. And it was huge. And the first, thing that I thought was like the money's there, the
Okay.
money's there. And no, I was like, I asked for a challenge and this is all it. And it was within days, within days, all of this going on. Now it's in a better situation. It's all resolved. But going back to
being resolved.
Yeah, being resolved, because it's never going to be fully resolved. But the situation has been overcome.
Okay, so you have this $500,000, you put it away. What happens?
So we set up a meeting where we start discussing on what the agreements are, what we're gonna do, and it was like way unfair. The agreement that was made, it wasn't. I was giving away my company basically. I was gonna give away the control
To this guy that gave you the $500,000.
And it was funny because it was almost like, dude, you don't have a choice. And I had this feeling, so I had the money already. Like, bro, here you go. Like, I don't want it. Like, take it, dude.
So he saw you making these moves, buying whatever you bought, and he's like, "Oh, this kid's spending my money." So he's over there looking like, "Yeah, there we go. Go ahead, get that Legacy, buy that." And then boom, he's like, "Okay, now here comes the strings." And then you said, "Boom, here's $500,000 back."
Yeah.
The whole thing.
Whole thing untouched. There it is. Just like you gave it to me, bro. Here you go. Like, I ain't gonna. That's not gonna happen. Like, and it just, the challenge. I go back to the challenge because that's what I asked for. The law of attraction, God, faith, all that stuff. I asked for a challenge. And I would remind myself not to make any decisions just like, because temptation, that was so much temptation. And if I would have fell into that, I mean, I would have lost control.
Because that's a lot of money. Most people would be up in the club making it rain, cashing it in, turn it all into ones and stuff. But you were like, "Hey,
hold up,
wait a minute. Let me put this money. Let me act on the good of this money." Because you actually did have it. You did have it in your possession, but you did it like a psychological twist to it. You put like your own spin on it, and but let me spend this money of mine like I have this. And then when the strings came, you were able to cut them, and just like, "Hey, I'm good, man. Here you go." So it must have been a look on his face or something.
Yeah, no, it was kind of, it was funny because, and I took my operations manager with me. I take him on, we had several meetings in this time frame. So that's not the only one, that had promised us access to credit and capital and stuff. But we were really like, you know what? Like, this is our inner team. Like, we have to be very picky. We can't just like, buy in, this is the guy, he's got all this money, but it's the person. But the look on their faces, man, because again, I think the hardest part of me opening up a business is my age.
How old are you anyway?
I'm 24.
24. And you started the business, you were then 22, 23,
Yeah,
around there?
22.
Okay, 22. Okay.
And it's these guys are like 40, 50, and they just look at me like, "Look, Sonny, like, look, little Sonny boy, let me show you something, And when I walked in, they were like, "Oh, you got this going on. This is how you do this. This is how you do that." And I'm just like, "No, dude. Like, I've spent enough time to know, the ins and outs of that. This is how you solve that. Like, just stop." Because they were trying to school me basically on what I had. And it's like, man, like, this is like off of real time. Like, it's not just on paper. This is what is going on right now. He pulled that stuff out. Like, you know what? Well, this is what's gonna happen. This is how we're gonna do it. This is the agreement and this and that. I'm like, nah. And he's like, "What do you mean? No, like, this is what we're gonna do." It's just like, here you go. Like, I'm not gonna make this agreement. Like, this is unfair, and you're trying to take advantage of me, bro. So what? I'm out. I'm not gonna continue this relationship. Because I mean, you tell me, you have a friend or somebody that was trying to help,
or seeming so, yeah.
Yeah, seemingly. And it's just like it's a story for people to listen to and just be careful. Be careful. I was blessed, to have that happen and not to have jumped on a decision that I would have regret. So just be careful, especially not knowing, coming out of nowhere. It's scary. temptation, the challenge. So going past that, to where we're at now, so many things have happened because of those moves that were made. So it was kind of like, okay, you passed the challenge. Here you go, man. Because everything that fell within these next, this next week or two, have been blessings. Everything's been working.
So
in our
after that
favor.
challenge, after that test, you out in the wilderness for a little bit, trying to figure out which way's up. When this guy's pulling these strings, you're like, blessed now. Because I did see, and I sent a picture to everybody, you got some new vehicles.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I got a fleet of 8 new vehicles. They're all Kia Souls. They're black with the red logos on
They
them.
look nice, dude.
It's pretty cool. I like driving around, seeing them driving around. It's an amazing feeling, man.
Yeah, you got a smile on your face right
Yeah.
now, I bet, man, to see those vehicles around, I just saw one pulling out of Napa, was it yesterday?
Yeah.
And that's one of your deals, right? You
Yeah.
deliver for
yeah,
Napa now.
Napa.
That's
So,
huge, brother.
It's crazy. And yesterday I actually had some representative from San Diego Napa show up, asking about Autopilot, about taking it out there. So that's
Wow.
like it's I'm telling you, blessings. Blessings. Don't fall into temptation.
See, because, that, to me, that's kind of how life works, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like God, the universe, however you want to put it, is going to see, like, who can I trust with this stuff?
Yeah.
Who can I trust? And then so it's like when you take the money and it's like, oh, I could trust this kid because what he did with it, he acted on the good of it, but he still kept it. And so when the strings came, boom, passed it aside, and to me, it's like the universe saying yes and amen to you facing that temptation and passing.
Yeah.
And so then the blessings flow because it's almost like when people say it's always darkest before dawn. So like you're going through this dark time, but it's like you just got to wait a little bit longer, a few more minutes, the sun's going to come up and then here it is and the birds are going to be singing and everything's going to be great. And so you went through that, you passed through that. I saw the pictures. I've actually asked people about Autopilot and the delivery service, and I got some good feedback from somebody. He said something about I don't know if he was at work. I think he was at work. His wife was at home with the kids. She had a headache. And so he called up the service or did whatever on the app. And somebody went and got Advil for the wife or something.
Yeah.
Like you even do stuff like that.
Yeah.
To me,
So-
and he said that was perfect. I couldn't do this. I couldn't be there for my wife. And so Autopilot was there and you sent somebody to go in and get Advil for this guy's wife.
Yeah. Yeah, man. And that's what it's for. Put your life on autopilot. And going into the limitless, brand and limitations, it's we break limitations. That's kind of the why. We delivered to people that were blind, people that had disabilities, people that can't get out, that have to rely on a relative or a caregiver. I mean, just access to whatever you need. You're sick, you're in bed, you're at the hospital, you forgot your charger, whatever. Whatever it is you can imagine, we got your back.
So there's two parts of this thing, right? So there's that line of it. So you subscribe to the service, and in that service you subscribe to, that's a free delivery.
Yeah.
Because you subscribed.
Yep.
So right now I could get on the app and be like, my wife wants a coffee really bad right now. And because I subscribe to your service, somebody's going to go get that and deliver it to her.
Yes. Exactly.
We just pay for the coffee and good to go.
Yep. Exactly.
So, and see, that's the thing I like, right? Because it's like meeting a need in the industry, right? Because you saw a need that was there and you're not trying to push something that somebody doesn't already need, right? And so that's one of the things I was like, I can feel comfortable with that because it's providing a service. It's about serving somebody else. And was that kind of the intent behind everything?
Yeah. Well, and it's the way it came about was I was always the gopher, with my uncles and cousins and go for this, go for that kind of thing. Hey man, I'm stranded. Can you come help us out? And it was always like, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna give these guys a hand. Even being stranded myself, feeling like, damn, like I wish I had something. I ran out of gas, or I got a flat and I don't have a jack. My battery died. I pulled over for a side and now I can't start up the car. And we've had all those situations with Autopilot. We've gave people jump starts. We've gave people gas. It's it's like, man, you have somebody to go to if nobody else can respond, like that backup. And then the cool thing about the delivery, the way I planned out the logistics was I copied like cops, the way that they dispatch, the way that they have their logistics and how they get to places so fast. I, of course, eliminating the siren factor.
It'd be cool if you had a siren, though.
Yeah, that would be dope.
I think you should add sirens, if that's legal.
I got a delivery.
Or just somebody hanging out the window. Woo!
Yeah, something.
I'll provide that service. No charge. Anyway.
That'd be perfect.
But, okay, so what do you mean you copied?
So they have certain ways that they work. And, I don't want to get into the whole logistics part of it, but the way that they organize themselves and they kind of work like an AI system, so you want to create that when you want to put your life on autopilot, you want it to put itself on autopilot. You don't want to have to dictate it because it's no longer autopilot. It has to work on itself. It has to be able to evolve on its own without you having to be there and dictate the rules and lessons, creating a system, procedures. So the dispatching is just as logistical as how the cops dispatch.
Okay, so where'd you get your intel though? Did you?
So
Right.
yeah,
Some
what I wanna know.
secret, some intel. You're
I'm
going
like-
into the police station and just kind of watching, setting up cameras. Tell me you did some James Bond stuff.
it's crazy how much information is accessible just by looking. I literally did all my research and information in libraries. Books.
That's boring. No, I'm just kidding.
Books. That's it. But it's planning. I think not too exciting, but being able to lock yourself in a room for 10 straight hours of trying to crack a code. That it can work a certain way, and you don't want to stop until it works just like that. And that's what it took. It's not easy. It's not just given to you. You can't go to a police station and be like, hey, how do you guys work? You start figuring out, the functionalities. What is the equipments that they use? How are they, able to work so fast? And there's so many little keys to follow. And it's worked great. Our launch was this week for Napa, taking on their full delivery service. And it got better every day. On Friday, the drivers even had time to chill. They got done so quick. It was awesome, and they were working with each other. I didn't have to dictate the whole process.
And so you had happy drivers, people that work for you, want to be part of this organization. You were talking about starting with the why. And so do they feel that? Does it go from the top down?
So the cool thing about this is I started establishing relationships with all the drivers. All of the drivers, I know them personally. I talked about what they want to do. I explained to them, this isn't going to be your typical 9 to 5. You're going to be here, and my goal for you is not to stay as a driver. I want you to evolve. I want you to grow. I want you to do what you love to do. I just want you to use Autopilot as a vehicle to feed your income. I'll show you how to replace yourself. I'll show you how to manage. I'll show you how to go up. Because you guys win, I win, we all win. And they all know that. And it's cool. On Friday we had a little meeting. Thursday we had a meeting, and everybody was like, you know what? Who does this? We appreciate this. We're here to work. We're gonna work. We're not going anywhere. And that feeling, it goes back to the why. Trying to help. Not only am I helping the community, but I'm giving people employment, to
Creating
show
jobs
someone.
for people, helping people put food on the plate for their families. Yeah, that's a beautiful thing, man.
It's exciting. It feels real good, man. It feels really good. And the fact that they're not miserable doing it. They all enjoy it. I see their chat, because they have a little chat where they all communicate, hey, I left here. Hey, does anybody need help in this location? Things like that.
So there's teamwork.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're happy to help.
Exactly. So if somebody's stuck, let's say they got 5 drops left and someone's in the area and just finished up, they get together and split up the work. So then they're both free faster. And it goes back to the logistics of it, because there's so much logistics. But I've been reading their conversations, and they'll have fun with it. They'll send little GIFs or GIFs, whatever you call them. Tease each other, and it's fun. It's fun to watch them interact. And the first week, I had them all together. I had them riding along together. I was like, I don't want you guys to be strangers. Everybody needs to know everybody today. You know, like everybody have everybody's number. You're going to ride along with him. You're going to ride along with her. Go out that way, and on your way back, everybody switch partners and come back. And then I sat them all in a room for like 5 hours. I mean, I had food and snacks and information for them. But we had, you know, little exercises, communication, sales, and what did they want? You know, I want to know what they want. And there's a few of them that are interesting, like artists, like painting. You know, there's one that has its own company already, like a car wash, and he wants to expand and learn more. And again, I'm more than happy to help him.
So you got these people under you that are almost in the same vein as yourself. They have dreams, they have aspirations. And so not only do they get a place to work, they get a mentor to learn from. A mentor that's 24. Where does this
Right.
come from? Where'd you get this from?
I give a lot of credit to both my parents.
Okay, both of them.
Because my father is more of the go-getter, but my mother is more grounded and respectful, you know. And it goes back to the inside, like you have to be a good person. You can't just have, you know, these amazing things just because you make a bunch of money, you're going to be the best person in the world. No, you have to be a good person. So there's a balance. So I give them, you know, equal credit because, you know, my dad was tough. You know, my dad, you know, he's his dad. You know, he's got to be tough. You know, he was always real tough. So it almost built some, like a shell, like a emotional shell, like nothing will penetrate me because he was so hard. But it goes to self-discipline. You have to be able to want it. Educate yourself enough to be able to perform at the level that you want.
So like you said, you knew it was going to be hard, so you did it hard. You said, I'm going to make some sacrifice, lock myself in this room, study these books, but I'm going to come out and I'm going to get this thing in a headlock and I'm winning.
Yeah, exactly. You know, you take control. You know, you take the full responsibility of where you're at in your life today. You take that all on. You know, everything here is me. This is me. Everything around me is a reflection of what I've done, the choices that I've made. And if you want to change that, you know, it starts with you, the inside.
The inner you.
Yeah.
You know, and you said in the bio you originally sent, you talked about your parents. They're not together. They're divorced, and so some people could use that as like, oh man, it came from a broken family, blah blah blah. But you just gave credit to both of your parents, even though they're not together, which is kind of unique. You know, you don't hear a lot of people saying that. They usually use that as a disability. But you took the strength of both because they had a great balance. And I see you're wearing your dad's T-shirt right now of his business.
Yeah.
Right? And so he was a good businessman, taught you things, probably some what to do and some what not to do,
Yeah.
I bet, you know?
Yeah, the ropes, you know, the fundamentals, you know, how you get started. And that's basically what I needed, you know, how do I get started? And like you said, using it as a benefit, using it as a strength, because the divorce helped with the maturity part of me.
How old were you?
I was 12.
You were 12.
You know, 12 years old. And I mean, he was still in communication with us, but it was hard. You know, it was rough. I have 3 younger sisters and a mom, you know, getting home, crying every day, you know, trying to explain to my younger siblings what's going on and not really knowing myself. I was a kid, you know, 12, like what the hell
You're
is going on?
12, 3 younger sisters, you said, and now all of a sudden you're the man of this household.
And then at the same time, I was getting bullied in school. You know, so I would cry on the bus on my way to school because I was getting tormented, man. Like there was these 4 kids that, you know, they knew I had this crush on this girl, and they would humiliate me in front of her every time. You know, they would throw me on the floor, and it was horrible, bro. But I give thanks to all of that because it gave me so much fire. It gave me so much like, man, I don't want anybody to go through that. Like I want everybody to feel like they can stop it, because it ended up being me stopping it. You know, it was just a decision. You had to stop it. You were letting it happen, bro. And,
Yes.
And building those emotions at a young age, you know, have propelled me to this, because it's, like I said, it's difficult, bro, for people to take you serious being 24. You know, trying to talk to businessmen, trying to make big decisions, you know, trying to get loans, trying to get a bunch of vehicles. The first dealer I walked into, I'm like, hey, guys, I want to get 8 cars. They just looked at me like, dude, shut up. You know?
Yeah,
And I was
exactly. That takes guts.
I was
That
like,
takes
what
courage.
the, like, is anybody going to help me? And then somebody kind of sat down, but I felt the vibe like, bro, like, you're wasting my time here. I was like, you know what, dude? Peace out. Like, I'm out, dude. I'm going to go somewhere else. And I went to another spot, kind of the same reaction, but they helped a little more. And kind of going into it, talking about what they were being, used for, and just talking, the vibe started changing. He saw that I wasn't messing around. Like, dude, like,
You
give
went
me
in
the
serious.
whole, yeah, give me the whole thing. I'm trying to get these today. So it took a while. It's not every day somebody goes in and gets 8 cars, but it's there. It's there. It's an amazing feeling. Feel accomplished.
And you said Kia is who you...
Yeah, Kia.
Okay.
So shout out to Kia.
Kia, for sure, definitely.
And Hyundai of Yuma.
Hyundai.
Because they're both together and they both help me out. Both of them.
Gyro, I have a friend that works there. Yeah, he's a good dude, and that's awesome that they took you serious and they saw something in you and said, you know what, we're going to take this, because it could be a gamble. Mm-hmm. They could look at this thing like, man, this kid's 24. Those are some odds stacked against you.
Yeah.
But you said, you went in with this determination. I'm going to get these vehicles.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, and it had to be that way. And it's funny because Hyundai of Yuma has been like my number one customer forever. For Autopilot. They would give food every day, like breakfast, lunch, dinner kind of thing.
They like to eat.
Yeah. Every day, there would be drivers out there, so everybody knew about the company. So, when I went in there talking about the company, they're like, oh, shit, are you trying to buy cars now?
Cool, man.
Yeah, dude. I was like, I want to dress these guys up. I want everybody to have the same car, same uniform, same everything.
And they probably had a good relationship with your drivers already, because your drivers, they have a certain type of a vibe about them, because that's how you run your company. So they're used to these people, and they were kind of like, I bet, yeah, of course we want to hook these kids up. You know, we want to hook these people up because they're kind of partnering with you in this growth.
Yeah, and they talked about that. They were like, you know what, this is exciting, man. Like, if you use us for all of your, your stuff, once you start expanding, listening to somebody else talk about my company about expansion, it's like, oh shoot, like you see it too, man. Like it's not just me, you can see it. So it was exciting, and it has that credibility behind it, because I was personally delivering to them at first. And I told them, I was like, hey guys, I just opened up a delivery company. If you guys want to use me, I went and dropped a flyer. That same day they used me. And I went back and I delivered, and they're like, oh shit, you're for real.
Yeah, so it's like, he's back.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, man, dude, whenever you want, to get something delivered, just hit me up.
So you were one of the original drivers.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was tough, bro. I mean, I was running the shop, and I started the business, so I had to juggle and
When
make
you
sure.
say running the shop, you're talking about your dad's shop?
My dad's shop.
Okay.
So, and that's like a 12-hour shift. So, being able to dictate your time enough to give you some free time to go out on random deliveries when they're on call, being the call center, being the estimator at the shop, being the operations manager within the facility, and then creating a system with new customers, making sure they're getting their deliveries on time. Like, there was so much, bro. Getting 2 o'clock in the morning deliveries, because it's a 24-hour service, I would have to do them. It was me.
So you're married, right?
Yes.
So your wife just got to get used to you hopping out of bed at this point.
And the cool thing about that, bro, is because that's how it started. Our relationship, she met me at the shop. She delivered, she was a parts delivery for Bingham Automotive, and she delivered materials to the shop.
Okay.
And I'm just like, hey, hi.
Hey, what's up, girl?
How you doing? What's your name? But yeah, it got started, and when we first started like dating, I told her, I was like, hey, like, I just want you to know that I'm gonna work a lot. Like, just know that I'm gonna be gone, and I'm gonna be hours, and I mean, you can come with things, you can come to things with me, but I got big dreams, I got big goals, and I want to take care of you and your whole family, not just you, and my family, everybody around us. Like, I want everybody to be taken care of. So know that, and she knows that, dude. It's so dope. Like, I can be out. She knows where I'm at. It's not one of those relationships like, where you at? What are you doing? Like, she knows what I'm doing. She knows what I'm doing every day.
You're making money. You're making moves.
And she for the longest time, she would talk about like, oh, when I have a baby, I want to stay at home. And when she got pregnant, we were at an apartment. And when she told me, it was like a hit. Like, dude, like, you need to start speeding up. Like, this hit you, and you're not ready for it. And I told her, I was like, you know what? We're going to get a house. I was like, and you're going to stay at home. And you're not going to have to work. And she's like, what are you talking about? Like, we don't make enough for that. Like, what do you, you know? I was like, you just trust the process. Like, trust me. You know, do you trust me? Yeah. But how are you? I was like, don't worry about the how. You know, just trust me. We'll get this. And 7 months later, we're in a new house. Brand new,
Beautiful.
you know, built. And right before the baby was born, she gets to stay at home with the baby. You know, so it was like dreams come true. You know, you wanted it and the intentions and just dedicating that time, bro. Dedicating that time because it's massive. It's a massive amount of time. You know, you're not talking about 8 hours here. You're talking about 16, 19 hours straight.
So you sacrifice sleep, you sacrifice play, you sacrifice time even with your wife, but she understands, hey, wait a minute. This guy in 7 months just took me from this apartment to this house and said, you're not going to have to work, and made it happen, like make magic happen. And so she's trusting you now because you delivered.
Yeah.
You just deliver everywhere, don't you?
And not everyone can do that. So just throwing that out there. Not anyone can say, oh, 7 months from now I'm going to have a house and you're not going to work anymore. That's
surprised.
crazy.
Like, I'm serious.
I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah, that's a huge thing,
Takes
brother.
a lot of determination.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. But anyone can do it. You know? Anyone, really. You know,
But not everyone will do
But
it.
not everybody will. Yeah, I get what she said. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, because people, I mean, yeah, you know, it's the will part. Because I've said it before, and they're like, nah, not anybody can, you know, do it. Yeah, they can, but they won't. You know, there's that difference. They won't do it. I remember the first time I heard Eric Thomas talking about waking up super
E.T.
early and this and that. Yeah, and I
like
was like,
E.T.
you know what? I need to start waking up at that time. You know, and when I first started Autopilot, that's kind of what, you know, gave me the time. So before I would open up, I already had a full shift put in of like creating the system. How am I going to do the phone call? How am I going to answer the phone? You know, like, you know, thank you for calling Autopilot. How can we deliver? You know, starting off like that. And all
So
these
you practice
little
that?
Yeah,
There was
over
little
and over and over. You know, so I was like, okay, this sounds professional enough. Separated my cell phone, so I had that specific number. Every time that cell phone would ring, I would know to answer like that.
It's not going to be like, yo, what's up?
Yeah, hey, what's good?
Legacy in the house.
What's up, man?
No.
So no, all of that stuff. The process is so exciting. I've been doing video documents from day one. So just giving myself updates on the progress. So that's so exciting. You know, I looked back at the first video and I was mind blown. I was like, holy shit. Like,
That's
you
cool.
know, I was talking about, you know, being in the position that I am today, you know, a year and a half ago. Like, this is what I was talking about. And it just, again, the determination, you can't stop. You can't stop.
So you mentioned E.T. right now. Like, I listen to E.T. I dig him. You know, he's really like the hip hop, you know, motivational speaker. Yeah. And so who's some other ones? Obviously, like we talked about Grant Cardone earlier, and we'll get into that afterwards. But who's some other names?
So Andy Frisella is another big name for me.
Okay.
He's straight to the point, real hardcore, and you know, I feel like that hardcore attitude I can relate to. I love you know, going full throttle. Grant Cardone is huge. Dove deep into his Cardone University, took the whole university.
Oh, wow. That shit's expensive, too. I give you props on that.
I don't know.
I know their courses
I don't know
are
anything about it. What is it?
And it's sales. It breaks down how to sell and how to master the sell completely. You know, and at first I was like, a sell, dude, all you got to do is sell something. And it's like, no, it blows your mind. And that helped me create these big companies, the access to these big companies like Napa. You know, being able to structure myself out professionally enough to have those kind of responses. So Grant Cardone, I listen to Gary Vee, Eric Thomas, and a lot of just motivational videos in general. Anything I can pop on, and then when I want to just kind of erase and drown myself in my own head, I just listen to Mozart. You know? And it lets me just drown myself in, okay, where am I at today? What am I doing right now? Sort of a meditation.
Yeah, meditation,
Yeah.
which is awesome. That's a good way to go. So let's get to this Grant Cardone thing, because Alan's going to kill me if I don't mention this. So you go to this event.
Yeah.
Where's this
so
event
it
at?
was it's called the 10X Growth Conference.
Okay.
And that's why I was able to take the Cardone University, because I became an ambassador. So it wasn't as expensive. It is really expensive, but I paid $900.
It's a good program though.
Yeah.
I've seen the details.
Okay.
You know,
good.
so I paid that for access to the full university, and he only gave us 4 months to go through the full university.
Oh, wow.
So I killed it. I had to get through it. I was like, I didn't pay this to not, go through all of this. And he was like having mastermind meetings with us every Friday. So it was super dope. We could interact with him. So we went to this conference in Las Vegas. There's about 10,000 people. And we're sitting at the top of, the auditorium, like at the top, way out of the way. But we can see the stage. And Forbes Riley comes up to the stage and starts talking about permission. And this whole time, me and Alan and Adrian, he went with us. We were talking about, man, how does Legacy get some attention out here? How can we get everybody's attention? What can we do? What can we do to get attention? And Forbes Riley started talking about asking for permission. They're like, you know what? The problem that everybody has is people ask for permission. People ask for permission to do anything. Just do it. And Alan's like, dude, she's calling you to the stage, bro. And immediately I just got up. I was like, you're right. I just got up and I started walking down like 30 steps, like the stairs.
Is anybody else walking at this point?
No, everybody was sitting down. Everybody
down.
was listening to what she was saying. And she's still talking about permission as I'm going down, so I'm getting even more filled up. Like, I'm not asking for nothing. I'm walking up. I got to the securities, and I was just like, excuse me. And he just let me by, because I was like I owned it. I just walked by. I was like, hey, excuse me. And he's just like, okay, go ahead. And then I started walking, towards the VIP, and security again. I was like, excuse me. He let me by. So I went straight up to the stage, and I was like, I ain't going to ask for permission. And Forbes was like, what the? Like, this is exactly what I was talking about. Like, you just go up to my stand and I'm going to give you my program for free.
Wow.
This is what I'm talking about here. And Alan was up on the stairs recording me. So I got a video of it. So that's pretty cool. I got to go backstage. I got to meet Grant Cardone personally, Andy Frisella, Ed Milet, which is another name. I got to meet all of them. I didn't have the funds to pay $15,000 to be in the VIP with them, but because I didn't ask for permission, I got to go.
So you got so $15,000, that's how much it is?
Yeah. And the after parties. So I got to go to the after parties. And it was so mind blowing, and just being in front of these guys that I look up to. It's like, man, I want to be like these guys, and I'm surrounded by them right here, right now, like drinking with them and mingling and asking questions. It was an amazing experience. And I remember Grant, I told him, I was like, bro, how do I make you a connection? Like, how do I make you, my connect? How can I, just hit you up? Hey, Grant, we need to do this. He's like, we'll get results and I'll come to you. And I was just like, whoa, like, damn, that's like the truest, statement. Results, they don't lie. You can't, you don't fake them. Here you go. This is a product of what you decided to do. Oh, there's a lot going on, man.
So you got this $15,000 worth of value because you didn't ask for permission. You just said, I'm getting this. This is where I belong. Mm-hmm. I'm going up there. That takes some guts, man. So that seems to be like the character I'm getting from you is you're this guy that's willing to take some risks, because, if Alan would have told me that, I would have probably no, I can no, froze up. But you said, no, I belong on that stage. Mm-hmm. I'm going to get some attention today. And then you made it up there, VIP, after parties. Do you have his phone number?
Grant's? No,
Not
I don't.
yet,
Bro.
but you're going to get it,
yeah,
right?
I'm going to get it. He said results. So that's what I'm working on. That's exactly, I'm here today, getting some exposure, talking to you guys about, what's been going on, my why.
Because Grant listens to this.
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
He will.
He will. Yeah, send it to him.
He'll definitely listen.
But that's a beautiful story, man. That's really cool that you take this courage and you find a way, and it's going to be hard. Mm-hmm. And it's the work that we hate to do. I'll be honest. That's the hard part. I look back and it's like, man, if I only put in more work back then, I'd be a different place right now. Mm-hmm. So it's all about putting the work in and say, hey, if it's going to be hard, I'm going to do it hard.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. And it's cool because I've been able to prove certain things. So now, my wife has a certain trust. And anytime she starts getting like what are we going to do? And I just look at her and it's like, I'll always find a way. And she's like, yep, okay. It's just done deal. And she knows, like, whatever we're in, whatever situation, always find a way. Because the universe will force itself in your favor if you push hard enough. Mm-hmm. Like, if you push harder than anybody, if you can genuinely feel like I'm pushing harder than anyone else on earth today. I mean, it's forced. It's forced.
Yeah. And there's a quote from Will Smith. He did an interview, and he was talking about he doesn't really think it's talent. He doesn't look at himself as the most talented guy, but he knows that if you're going to hop on a treadmill and he's going to hop on one next to you, you're going to be the first to get off, or he's going to die on that treadmill.
Yeah.
He said it's just that he has that competitive nature. Like, I'm not getting off of this. I'll die, but you got to go. So he's just going to work harder than the next person.
Yeah.
And that's some of that push that you're talking about, is working a little bit harder, putting in the hours, and then it's going to come to you. You reap what you sow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
You're going to reap what you sow. You're going to get back what you put out. With the trials.
Yes.
With the tests.
Yes.
And that's just part of it. Mm-hmm. With the things that are coming where the guy's like, hey, you owe me now. No. Here you go. Here's the money.
Yeah. Yeah. And understand that.
You got to understand that. With the partner that doesn't give you access to your website for a time, and you're just like taking a deep breath, putting on some Mozart, getting your head together, and it's like, what do I do next? I'm gonna go buy some cars. Right?
Yeah, dude, spot on. Just take it to the next level. If this it's like a maze. If you hit a wall, it doesn't seem like the right decision to go back, because it seems like you're going backwards, but really you're just going back to the right path. So when you hit a wall, a lot of people like to stay there. Like, no, I've gone this far. Like, I'm not going to just let this go. Like, you got to understand it's a wall. Either break it or go back and find another way.
Take some steps back, recalculate, and figure out, like, oh, no, I was supposed to go this way. This is what I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
I like that, man. So where do you want to end up? Like, where's the next step? Or kind of like 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you want to franchise this thing out? You want to be in different cities? What? You want to be the next Uber type? What's your deal?
Well, this is, and I'm saying it today, so we can look back at this and be like, damn, this fool really just said that. So Amazon is hiring entrepreneurs to, do certain delivery businesses within the cities. I'm going to just branch mine out nationwide and then go to Amazon and let them know, like, hey, dude, why are you hiring all these entrepreneurs when you could just hire one? And handle. And Google, because Google's the AI, Google's the technology. So we'll have this, warehouse, the brain and the heart, the body, the mind, and the heart. And that's the way I see it.
The trifecta.
And the company it'll take over. I want to be able to give like commercial flights for free, taxi rides free, deliveries free. Like, there's this huge gap with the poor and middle class and rich. Just cut a little bit off of the rich to give some more to the poor and the middle class.
Kind of give back to your community where you came from.
Because there's such a big gap. There's plenty. We'll cut half, and it'll kind of put everybody at a good ass level. Everybody, So looking at the big picture, a lot of people don't have the motivation, but they're good people. So they deserve some stuff. They deserve to go to Hawaii for free. Just go and pay for some food and a hotel. But the trip's free. You got to go to work every day. And you don't got a car. You could get a ride every day for free. So that's my goal, man. And it sounds impossible, but I'm going to figure out how to do it.
You're going to lock yourself in that room.
Yeah.
And it's going to take 10 hours, 12 hours. But you're going to come out and you're going to crack that code. Right? You're going to figure that out, man. Hey. Props to you, dude. 24 years old. Like, you don't hear many people talking the way you're talking, taking on the challenges the way you're taking them on, and not just taking them on, but kind of like going into Little Chapel and asking for them.
Right.
Like, what's next?
Yeah.
Wait, come on. This is too easy. This is lightweight. I'm Legacy. I changed my name, for God's sake. How is Legacy gonna? How is this movie gonna be interesting unless I get some challenges?
Yeah.
And then God's like, all right. All right, son. All right, cool. Just wake up tomorrow morning and let's see what I got for you.
Yeah, it really was, and it's cool, man. I wanna think that I'll be used as a tool one day. You know, for him to give me the challenges to fix something.
I think you are already.
I know.
Man.
I was gonna say that you already are the tool. Right?
You already are, man. That's it is. You are. You know, the things that you've accomplished in such a little time, even with the things that most people would look at as like, oh man, broken family, oh man, bullied, oh man, this and that. You're like, that was God challenged you from the jump.
Mm-hmm.
From the jump, and you weren't even asking for those.
Yeah, I had to. So, you know, he knows. He knows.
He knows he's using you.
Mm-hmm.
He fashioned you into a tool, and here you are these days. You're doing this. I hope you know, because I'm going to need ride places. I want to go to Hawaii, so.
Yeah, go through with that one.
Yeah.
Me and John will be there.
We're all going to Hawaii. We'll do this podcast from Hawaii one day, right?
Yeah, dude, that'd be awesome. On the plane, on the way there.
Because this is the last episode, season 10, we talked about going to Hawaii for Zeta's.
Dude, that's awesome.
Zeta's,
Nailed it.
Yeah, so we'll do that for her wedding, right?
Yeah.
You're going to all take us over there?
We'll get it done.
Get it done, man. Well, I appreciate you, man, and I'm glad that there was this reintroduction by Alan, that I just didn't judge you totally and say no, I'm not even going to take this from that introduction to your music. I'm glad you've matured. I look forward to the day you're able to do that music again, because that's coming, right?
Yeah. That's actually next year is racing and music. So those are the goals for next year once Autopilot is nailed down. That's I'm excited. I'm looking forward.
You're not
to
racing these new Kias, right?
No.
I'm not going to see you around Yuma,
Turbocharged Kias. No.
Okay, so racing and the music.
Yeah, so that's next year.
Next year, an album?
Yeah, full album, music videos, whole 9 yards. I didn't as far as I can go with this, and then get science behind marketing, do it right, treat it like a business, like we were talking about, taking it real serious. Because there's a lot of things. The beats, don't be using other people's beats. Get legit beats. Get everything
You
set
want to
up.
control it.
Yep. Full thing. And then treat these labels the same way. You're trying to give me $500,000 and take my whole thing, dude. Like, no, bro. I'm gonna do me. My circle is gonna stay tight. People like you and Alan and everybody else in our inner circle that knows each other. A lot of people that you've had on this podcast, I know them personally too.
Cool, man.
So we keep our circle tight.
Well, that's beautiful, man. So if you ever want to feature an old retired rapper, you know what I mean, on one of these songs, I'll come out.
Yeah, man, that'd be dope.
Have Tori do a beat, maybe. She's
super.
seriously amazing music. I've been a fan of hers for a long time. I can't big that up enough. I remember seeing her on LA TV. She's a pioneer in Yuma. She broke ground in Yuma, right?
That's super sick.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, she's modest about
I'm
it.
real humble, so I don't know. Yeah, I guess so.
But she did. She's done a lot. You know what I mean? She's one of those ones that broke a lot of ground in Yuma for the music industry. Mm-hmm. So, hey, dude, shout out to you. I thank you for taking this time to be able to be on this podcast. I think it's a blessing. You got a good vision. You give back to those people.
Yeah, man.
You do that. Keep that faith, man, and keep that willingness to not only just keep it for yourself, but to be a river to let it flow.
Yeah. Yep. And let multiple people reap the benefits. I can't take the cake off for myself. We got to start splitting the pieces.
That's awesome, man. So everybody, thank you for listening. It's season 2, episode 1. I didn't even introduce ourselves in the beginning.
Tori and John.
Yeah, there we go. Edit that in the beginning or something. But anyway, we got some exciting stuff coming up. I got some really good interviews for season 2, and hope to bring you more stories like Legacies, and maybe revisit you in the future.
That'd be fun. Yeah, I'd be more than willing.
Yeah, I think that'd be great. So anyway, thank you everybody for listening. We're signing off.
Thanks,
Peace out.
guys.